Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. It is 7:38 on Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025. This is the regular school board meeting of the Board of Education of Warren Township High School District 121. All right, we are going to first move to a public hearing before we follow our normal kind of items here. Just making sure that we're doing everything in order. Yes, we are. The next item is a public hearing to receive public comments on the fiscal year 26 budget. All persons desiring to be heard will have an opportunity to present written or oral testimony. May I have a motion to move into the public hearing?
I move to enter into a public hearing for the fiscal 25 tentative budget.
And then I also heard Natalia second that. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Carlson? Yes. Squires?
Yes.
Martinez?
Yes.
Pope?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Demonte?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great. This public hearing is to receive comments on the proposed fiscal year 26 tentative budget. Anyone who wishes to be heard will have the opportunity to present written or oral testimony. Can the business manager please briefly explain the fiscal year 26 tentative budget process?
Okay, the timeline for the budget process is on August 19th, the Board of Education approved the resolution for preparation of the tentative budget. A legal notice was posted in the Daily Herald newspaper on August 21st that a public hearing would be held and a tentative budget would be on public display. The Board of Education will hold public meeting on tonight, September 23rd, followed by consideration to approve the budget.
Thank you. Great. Will the board secretary and or board clerk, so Natalia or Lisa, please read into record any written testimony concerning the proposed fiscal year 26 tentative budget?
We want her to go over some of the information that's in the budget beforehand. She has a presentation.
Oh,
Yeah, it's going to be brief.
yeah. I apologize.
No, that's okay.
I was looking up to see if you had more and I misread that, so I apologize.
Okay, so in the board packet is the executive summary of the budget. And I will just do a few talking points of this year's proposed budget.
So the first slide, actually, I'm going to take just to center us some of the things that are budgeted for this year that have been prioritized through our strategic plan and our annual improvement plan include some added multilingual services and staff, as well as the family liaison position, budgeted dollars for increased extracurricular access and tuition reimbursements for staff, budget for link crew implementation and continuing the lunchtime supports. We also have significant dollars invested in instructional coaches that provide our professional training and development for staff.
Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about revenue assumptions. So the 2025 tax levy, which will come up in December, will be based on a CPI of 2.9%. That CPI is set in January of 2025, and that's the number that we use in our calculation for the levy. Just a few points of funding. Evidence-based funding is going to increase $121,821.54. We are now in Tier 2, so we get less funding than we've had previously. We don't have any increase in federal funds. We have a one state grant that we got an increase of $43,644, but other than that, the rest of the state grants are flat. CPPRT is going to increase $23,729.98. Student fee revenue is flat, except for we did increase Chromebook fees by $1. It'll increase revenue by $3,500. And interest income will still remain high. Interest rates are probably going to start dropping, but for this year, I anticipate that we will still receive about $2.1 million in interest earnings. On the right-hand side is our district revenue from FY24. As you can see, the majority of our funds are received from local property tax and local revenue. We do get, in the red portion, that's our state funding, and our federal revenue is the small green portion.
Before you move on,
Sure.
you say there's no increase in federal revenue. Are any of them in danger? Are we going to lose any of them?
There was a concern over the summer because we had heard that the title grants were not going to be funded, but then there was a change, and we are getting funding on the title grants, which is Title I, Title II, Title IV, and IDEA. Just briefly about expenditures. So salaries, anticipate it will increase 5.8%. There is a combination of factors that come up with that percentage. Basically, increases in salaries based on the contract, salary lane changes, retirement incentives, and we did hire 3 additional staff members. Our healthcare, we anticipate increases on PPO, HMO, dental, and pharmacy. They're anticipating that going up 9%. Budgeted pretty much for classroom furniture this year, equipment for maintenance and security, and the big project this year, our construction project of the locker room at Old Plain. And then on the right-hand side are expenditures in a pie chart for FY24. As you can see, 50% of our expenses, of all expenses, is salaries. 10% is benefits, so about 60% is salaries and benefits of our expenditures. Let's see. So just going back to revenue, just briefly, for our state funding, we get regular transportation reimbursement and special ed transportation. Years ago, the state funded much more than they are now. We submit a transportation report every August, and from that transportation, that's all our expenses, we get reimbursement. But whereas years ago, it might have been like 90, 85%, we're down to like 71% for regular transportation and 61% on special ed. And then as far as special ed private facility, there's no increase for reimbursement for that. Let's see. The next chart, so this is Lake County High School districts, and it's the percentage of salaries and benefits of our operating expense. So basically, it's the Ed Fund, O&M Fund, Transportation, IMRF Social Security, and Tort Fund. So we have a list of the Lake County high schools, and you can see the different percentages, higher in some, less in others, of salaries and benefits, and we are right in the middle. So I feel like we're right where we should be, you know. And then the last chart is our insurance, because insurance increases year over year over year, and the increases have been not insignificant. They have been ranging pretty much from 8, 9, 10, 11% year over year. So this is our expenses from over the last 5 years, And so, yes, they continue to go up, and we anticipate the next round of insurance to also go up. So overall, I think financially, we're in good shape. We have good fund balances. We're fiscally, I appreciate the board. You're always thinking about, dollars-wise, fiscally, you're cognizant of it. But when I look at CPI being like 2.9%, which is the part of the calculation for our property increases, and then on the other hand, for expenses, where we have increases of 5.8%, and and then 10% for insurance, it doesn't balance. So it's with declining enrollment, increasing cost, we just have to continue to be cognizant of our spending. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Yeah, I have one question about the evidence-based funding. We were Tier 1, which is the highest level of funding through the evidence-based formula, right? And now we're Tier 2, which is a lower level of funding.
Actually, it goes up. So Tier 1 is districts in most need,
Okay,
and 4 is the one districts in least need.
right, okay, so Tier 1 is you receive the highest level of support, okay.
Yes.
Did we actually lose money, or is it like once you're at a certain level of receiving help through evidence-based funding, it doesn't go down? It just might go up by the increase in the support you receive might be smaller than it was before.
That is correct. So with evidence-based funding, you never receive less than you did the year before. But as you're moving up towards Tier 4, you'll receive less and less. So
Less increase.
Of an
Increases,
increase, right. Okay, but whatever amount of assistance, funding support you received last year will maintain.
yes, we
Okay.
will not receive
Okay.
less.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Receive more either.
Yeah, I got you. I get it. Yep.
Just as you appreciate, Chris, us being cognizant of our spending, we also appreciate you keeping us in line with our spending. So we are also relying on you if you notice us trending in a bad direction, one that we can't dig ourselves out of, to speak up and let us know. We very innocently want to see great things for our kids and staff, and maybe we just can't extend as far as we do. So thanks for keeping us within the lines. All
Thank
right.
you. I appreciate that.
Yep. Okay, I'm going to reread the statement. Thank you, John, for making sure I did not miss Chris's presentation. Will the board secretary and/or board clerk read into record any written testimony concerning the proposed FY26 tentative budget? Is there any?
I have nothing.
You have nothing. Okay. Is there any person or persons in the audience that would like to provide oral testimony or public comments concerning the proposed fiscal year 26 tentative budget? This is just for the budget. Okay. Are there any additional comments from the Board of Education? I know we had some questions that we got answered, but if there's any additional ones, now's your time to ask. All right. All persons desiring to be heard have been given the opportunity to present written or oral testimony with respect to the FY26 tentative budget. The FY26 tentative budget has been placed on tonight's agenda as an action item. May I have a motion to close the public hearing for the FY26 tentative budget and return to open session?
I move to close the public hearing for the fiscal 26 tentative budget.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Great. And it looks like we can do a voice vote, so all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you. We can now move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. So if we would, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. It looks like the flag is behind us. Yes. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. What I was reminded of is, you know, in a class where you have like the leaders who get to do the lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance, that's what Steve and Beth were doing just right now. So thank you for taking me back to my elementary classroom days. Yep. Appreciate that. Okay, so we are going to move on to public comments. This is an opportunity for the community members.
Agenda.
Oh, did I miss? I did miss that, didn't I? We're going to have some changes. I'm going to recommend a couple changes to the agenda. Thank you, John. The first thing that we'd like to do is pull the 2026-2027 school calendar from the agenda. There's some additional conversations and work and that needs to be done before we approve such thing. And the other one, we had a request from one of our faculty who would like to get out of here at a reasonable time, go home to their family, sleep, and prepare for students the next day, which we very much appreciate. Kids first. So that's the one of approval of field trip to Peru, I believe. And we'll move that to not quite yet because we still have to do a couple items. But if we could pull that and move it to maybe right after consent, is that okay? That's not too much longer. Okay, thank you. All right, so with those two changes, are there any other changes to the agenda tonight? No?
I move to approve the agenda as amended.
Thank you. Second?
Yeah.
All right. Looks like we can do a voice vote here as well, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and we would have already had our discussion on that, so thank you. Now we can move on to public comment. This is an opportunity for the community members to address the board. If there are any audience members that would like to speak at this time, please come forward to the podium. Oh, there's,
John.
okay. Yeah, please come forward. Then I'm going to continue. Normally, we don't have people providing public comments, so I don't read the whole paragraph. But I must remind all guests to speak clearly into the microphone, state your name, relationship to the district, and by board directive, you are allowed up to 3 minutes.
Okay, can I ask questions to the board, or is it just for a comment?
Yeah, it's not a conversation, it's just an opportunity for you to address, so.
Is there a
we can't
portion of
respond.
this that will be for questions?
Not during a
Okay.
formal board meeting, no.
Okay,
But if you can state your name, your relationship to the district, then feel free to begin your 3 minutes.
yep, so my name's Scott Carlson. I have a daughter that attends here as a junior in this school. Just as some background, she has a GPA that's greater than 4.1. This year, she's taking all honors and AP courses. She's also in a competitive synchronized figure skating team that competes internationally. Unfortunately, this year, she's going to miss 27 days of school, which is 11 days more than the school allows. And just so it's understood, the team she's on is Team USA. They're ranked #1 in the world, and they're defending world championship team. As I said, she's going to miss 11 days too many. So there's the 8-day attendance policy, which says that after 8 days in any semester, the rest of the days, any homework will get zeros, and any big projects will get a 10% deduction. I guess my comment is that whole rule to me seems contrary to actual promotion of education and excellence. Given the circumstances, it even seems anti-American to me. She's on the #1 team in the world. She's competing as a world champion to be the world champions. And I think it's completely inappropriate to punish her academically. There's other punishments besides the academic. Really, all I care about is the academic. It seems totally contrary to what the district should be doing. and it seems just like a bad policy in general. Short of, I understand the policy is to try to get people to attend school. I've been trying to get a waiver for this. So far, it has just out of hand been denied, which I think, given the circumstances, is totally inappropriate, even if you could justify academically punishing someone in other circumstances. It just seems totally inappropriate and wrong, and I will at some point be bringing this to the board in the appropriate forum, and I hope that you guys can seriously consider whether or not it is appropriate to
Thank you for your-
punish
Thank you for your comments.
somebody that is an excellent student competing on the world stage.
I don't mean to cut you off, but in fairness, we cap it at 3 minutes. Thank you for your comments, though. Is there anybody else that would like to address the board this evening? We can move on to if there's any board discussion of visitor comments that we want to make at this time. Okay. Seeing none. There's a lot of stuff on the web. Yeah, apparently Surrey or whoever that is has a comment. Moving on to committee reports. We were provided committee reports. Dr. Weisman does not have anything to add for them, but hopefully everybody's had an opportunity to read those. I think the insurance committee minutes were interesting, given what was said today about insurance rates increasing. So, and then superintendent's reports. I believe we have no comments from Dr. Weisman, but quite a bit of information for us to have reviewed ahead of today. So thank you for providing that, Dr. Weisman. Okay. We are going to move on. Oh, actually, hold on. Yeah. We're going to move on to consent agenda, which I'll read because there's quite a few items in here. I move to approve the consent agenda items, which include acknowledgement and acceptance of gifts to the district, intergovernmental agreement between Northwest Suburban Special Education Organization, NSSEO, and Warren Township High School District 121 for student 2026-08, personnel recommendations, Exhibit A, minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting, September 9th, 2025, and bills paid in the amount of $6,499,498.11. Roll.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Carlson,
Yes.
Martinez,
Yes.
Squires,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Pope,
Yes.
Demonte.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, so we moved one item to the front, and I think probably now is the best time, and that was the approval of field trip to Peru. Go ahead and come on up if you have any comments before we discuss.
Very much. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for making time on the agenda tonight, and also thank you very much for being willing to move me up. My name is Tim Van Lanningham. I've been here before. Many of you know what I'm about to do. I'm a social studies teacher at the Eau Plaine campus. I've been at Warren for going into my 18th year. Since 2017, I've been leader of a group we have here at school called Warren on Tour. We take international trips every year over spring break. Last year, we took 33 travelers to Argentina. This spring break coming up in March, we're taking 52 travelers to Europe. We've been to Japan, we've been to Australia, we've been around the world. Thank you, first of all, for all of your support over the years. It's really been amazing that we can count on the board giving us so much support. So thank you for that. I'm here to request and answer questions that you might have about trying to get next school year's spring break trip approved. We're hoping to visit Peru. The departure date would be the first day that we don't have school after the week leading into spring break. We will not be missing any school. It's a 9-day trip. We'll be visiting Lima, Cusco, Sacred Valley, and Machu Picchu. The reason why we are choosing this trip quickly is we do try to recognize that as we have students move through a 4-year high school experience, many students want to be visiting some of the big, famous cities of Europe, Paris and Madrid and all these different places, Munich. But we also want to make sure that we're exposing our students and giving them opportunities to see other parts of the world, non-Western civilizations, cultures, and things like that. We feel like Peru checks some of those boxes, and we're really excited to go visit there. The tour company we've always used, and we will plan on using for this trip, is EF Tours. They are considered the best in the business when it comes to this kind of thing. Many other prominent Lake County high schools who do trips like this use EF Tours as well, including Libertyville, Stevenson, and Grays Lake, and others. The reason why we keep going back to them is they are very, very good at making us and keeping us safe. They are very, very good at providing our students a very high quality experience that is full of learning, but also fun, which they want some fun, We also, when we create a trip with them, they offer travel insurance, which we opt into. That's going to be included as a non-optional thing for our travelers. So tour cancellation, illness and accident, baggage and property loss, things like that are built into the travel insurance that we get with them. In terms of the cost, this is international travel. It includes flights, hotels, 2 meals a day, entrance fees, all these things, tour directors. So the overall total cost is just over $4,500. When we break that down on a monthly payment for our families, that comes out to be around $250 per month. We try to make sure that when we launch these trips, we give a long runway. So that's why I'm here now asking approval for a trip that would be happening in March of 2027. That's about an 18-month runway, which is what allows us to keep that monthly payment so low. And that $250 is right in line with what we find. It seems to be, obviously it's not doable for every single family in the district, but it's kind of the best we can do. So that's the number. Just one more thing, in terms of chaperones, we will use Warren people, Warren faculty and staff. We get 1 chaperone for every 6.
Can we go?
You ask that every year that I'm here.
I still have to decide.
And every year I joke and say, of course. And then you never.
I want to make sure for when I decide to.
One day.
When you want to come to
18
Peru,
months.
yeah.
I heard.
Think about it. It's 6-1, so we're expecting anywhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 40 travelers on this trip. We'll see, but that's kind of what we're looking forward to. So that's my spiel. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, I'm more than willing and able to answer those questions.
I just want to say thank you for giving the long runway for people to be able to afford it, because it's really important to a lot of people. So you're always very good about coming early. So thank you so much.
Are there any resources available for people that can't afford it?
It's a really good question. I know that like some athletics, other clubs do fundraising. This is a question that I've thought about. Unfortunately, the way it works is if you can generate a certain amount of money by doing a fundraiser or some sort of like partnership with like a local restaurant or something like that, when you think about how you need to spread that out across 30, 40 travelers, the actual impact that a fundraising program like that really means to an individual person paying, it doesn't really seem to move the needle very much. So what we encourage families to do individually is figure out ways to, there's 2 holiday seasons between now and then. There's probably 2 birthdays potentially for some of these travelers between now and then. Like find ways to reach out within your own network to try to, hey, rather than giving me a birthday present, give me $100 to go to Peru, something like that. The tour company we use, EF Tours, they also have what it feels like kind of like a GoFundMe page kind of where students can kind of give a link or a QR code to family members or post online, and people can then donate kind of directly into their account. So we talk about that. I wish there was a better way to be like, yeah, here's a great opportunity to save everybody a bunch of money or to donate a lot of money. But at this part of the process, or I'm sorry, after doing this for so many years, there doesn't seem to be a real clear, obvious answer to that question.
So you're saying that there's a link, like you said, similar to a GoFundMe,
Mhm.
but just for the trip, and then that money donated goes directly into that individual student's
That's correct.
fee.
Mm-hmm. That is correct.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It is.
Anyone else have any questions from the board?
Well, just thank you for continuing to plan these trips. I appreciate that we can offer this opportunity to the kids.
You always come up with the best places to go.
And never let us go.
Right.
And although not required, we do appreciate you coming and explaining all of this because it helps us learn a little bit about your process and the process of our students in order to participate in this, just in addition to you taking this on, which is extra from your normal duties, but gives our kids some really good exposure and experiences. So thank you. Are we going to get you back at an okay time?
Yeah, this is totally fine.
Okay.
Yeah, the kids will be in bed by the time I get home. So this
You want
is
us to
actually,
talk longer?
This is better.
I mean,
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right, so we pulled this one action item out, so let's take action on this item. I move to approve the field trip to Peru for spring break. Well, it doesn't say the year, but 2027.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? More than we've already had? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Squires,
Yes.
Martinez,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Pope,
Yes.
Demonte.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Congrats.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Have fun.
Yeah. We're going to go back now to discussion items. And the first section is reviewing policy and just having a discussion on employee professional conduct. Dr. Weisman, I believe, has some comments to start off our discussion.
Yeah, just recently, there's been some discussion in the Chicago Public School District around appropriate conduct between staff and recent graduates. Most school districts in Illinois, every school district's policy that I've looked at in Illinois specifically states specifically directs staff how they should be interacting with students, sets guidelines, parameters, identifies specific tools that's supposed to happen. And if you're watching the news around education, you'll notice there was some pretty significant news stories about a high school and the CPS system, and so that school board is looking at their policy and considering a recent graduate addition to the outlined and regulated conversations that staff and communication that staff have with students. Because of that, I have looked at some other school policies around the nation. There are definitely states that have model policy that specifies the type of communication that staff should have with recent graduates. The idea behind a recent graduate policy is that in the case of Chicago Public Schools, what they're talking about is it provides an added layer of protection and a surety to the community that staff are having appropriate supervisory relationships with students as they offboard to post-high school experiences. And a lot of times those policies say something like if staff are going to communicate with a recent graduate, maybe that's 1 year or 2 years after graduation, then they have to do that through these specified means. So for example, through school email, so that if there are any accusations to that staff member, the district is able to support the staff member. We have record of any communication that's happening between them. I think it's a two-way street around the protection. So this was pretty high-level Chicago Public Schools information. I thought it'd be really important for the school board to talk about. It would take us some time to go work on this. This isn't an easy ad. There's not a lot of schools in Illinois that are doing this, but we have started that conversation just to see what that would look like, and there are some national model policies. So mostly I'm just looking around to see if there's some consensus from the school board on if we should continue looking into that and what priorities you might have as a board around any policy changes in this direction. And maybe it's none. Maybe we kind of wait and see what happens with other schools, but wanted to bring that to you tonight.
I'm in favor of moving forward with that. I think it's important to set clear communication and boundary to our staff members and our recent graduates.
Devil's advocate here for a second. I have a problem telling a 19-year-old woman what to do, and I asked you in the meeting what our youngest staff members were, and I think you told me 23. I have a problem with telling two adults what they can or cannot do. Now, if you can show inappropriate contact before graduation, that's one thing. But after graduation, I just have a problem with that. And my question would be, can we do that? Is that legal?
Well, you could have a recent graduate that's still 18. That we
18,
didn't-
whatever, 18 is the age majority. I mean, 18-year-olds can vote.
It'd actually be 17, but that's beside the point.
Okay, but
Yeah, I understand what you're saying,
yeah,
Steve. I don't-
all I'm saying is, I just have a problem telling two adults, statistically, legally, what they can and cannot do. Now, again, if you can show inappropriate contact before graduation, that's another thing. But, and
just
again, I
because
would
they're
ask my
18 or-
question, what legal, we have some legal leverage, obviously, over staff. But other than that,
But there's still power there with a staff, faculty or staff that is even 23 with an 18-year-old, where it may not be consensual, whatever the communication is, and there, you know, like the intimidation, there's power over
Power
the-
dynamic.
the power dynamic.
when they're in school.
No,
once
but
they-
even after.
It continues.
Has there been any legal challenge to this sort of thing that we know of? I don't have any
Yeah,
idea.
I don't know. I'm assuming because I have seen it in some state model policies that there's some legal precedent to this. And to clarify, most likely what I'm asking about is should we put regulations in place for staff? I agree. I don't have any control over students. So
we
we'd
can
really just be
control
looking
staff.
for a staff impact, yeah.
And for protection, and we don't want to be on the news.
I think in recognition of the nature of the relationship between a school staff person and someone who knows them because they were a student in the school, that's a categorically different situation than just any odd
Random adult.
two people over the age of 18. And I think in recognition of that being the relationship, that it's appropriate to give a year for a graduating person to kind of move out of the high school.
Faith.
I have 3 young adult children, and they don't just magically become adults.
No, you gotta be about at
So-
least 40.
So it makes a lot of sense to me for the safety of the recent graduate and the staff person, you know, to define how that communication happens, probably in district-provided communication channels. I appreciated one of these sample policies that it said, these are appropriate forms of communication, and included, even if you need to text, include another adult, that sort of thing. I appreciate that kind of prescriptive approach, like here are the options available.
I think some care needs to be taken, and I agree with Natalia in that, I mean, if I'm an English teacher and this is my student, and she graduates and whatever, but I may not have ever taught her, I might not even know her in school. So, I mean, certain care needs to be taken in terms of freedom of choice when there isn't that relationship that she's mentioning.
I think Danny is looking, and correct me if I'm wrong, just permission to pursue the discussion.
Pursue.
And, you know, I defer to the lawyer, right? I defer to the lawyers. When I say I'm in agreement of looking at it from a legal standpoint, and like we've talked about, protecting our staff, making sure they're clear on what could or could not be a danger zone they're walking into. So, you know, I don't think there's any harm in looking at it. Obviously, legal minds are gonna be weighing in, and trying to protect all involved, I would assume. So when I say I support that, I support definitely looking into it and making sure that we're doing everything we can to make it clear to the staff. I mean, we can talk about all kinds of things going on right now, social media, communications on social media, you know, just having accounts with people. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of things we can't anticipate, but if we can draw in some boundaries that would protect people from getting on the news, you know, in the future, I'm in total favor of that, because none of us want anyone to walk into something that they don't really recognized as a problem, and then it becomes a problem. And anyone can make accusations too, and so, I mean, we just need to be, as careful as we can legally, I guess.
These sample policies made reference to the kinds of communication that can create the appearance of something, and the appearance of something that is not healthy for a recent graduate can be a problem, even if it's actually, all good intentioned. So I think it's appropriate for us to make an effort to protect the staff from the appearance of a relationship that's not helpful to the recent graduate.
I'd be very interested in knowing specifically what we can do and what we can't do legally.
Yep.
Sounds like you're wondering, are we exceeding our authority? Is really what I believe you're trying to state here. Yeah, so a couple thoughts. It was interesting to hear where everyone stood on it. There's definitely teachers, staff, everybody that is employed here in the school has a position of authority over our students. There is a power imbalance due to that, and that I have found through the years doesn't just turn off when you graduate. I have a teacher, and I may have mentioned this in a different meeting, that I will always refer to her as Mrs. Levin, and this was like 40 years ago. Like, I will not ever refer to her as anything other than Mrs. Levin. I see her, I cannot say her first name. I just can't. So it extends far. There's this level of respect. It just doesn't turn off. So that's one piece that is unique to the field of education. This position of trust that our parents provide their most precious possession, or their children. And we need to take that extremely seriously too. We have this social media, so law and policy are woefully tend to be out of date. And our teachers and our students are already living in this social media world where lines are getting blurred. And I happen to believe clarity is kindness, in the sense that we need to clarify what we expect, because in protecting our kids and our teachers and staff, we need to make clear where those lines are so they don't step into something that we view as, and others and our fellow community members view as, dangerous territory. So I appreciated the sample policies that said a year. I don't know if I personally have the appetite for 2, 3 beyond, but I feel like 1 year afterward is fair for very specific types of communication, those that are sexual in nature, or there's very specific language, because I wouldn't want to hamstring any of our teachers from writing letters of recommendation. There's other reasons why, absolutely, our teachers support our kids well beyond the time that they're here. So we just need to make clear the behavior that we wouldn't want to see, and then in everyone's protection, the fact that that's on district email or district approved communication channels, mainly for archiving purposes. In case there was any kind of question, we can help clear that up. So it doesn't sound like where I'm at is much different from where everyone else is at. This is not an action item. It was just discussion. But Dr. Wiesman, does that give you enough
That's great.
direction?
Perfect.
Okay. All right. The next item was policy review, facility management. The administration does not have any comments. Do we have any discussion on these facility management policies that we were provided?
I'm just wondering if these policies list specific amounts that don't need come to us for approval. Where do those dollar amounts come from?
One of them is statutory. So the amount that has to go to bid is statutory. That's a $35,000 amount. And then the 17, what for us right now is at 12, and is just it's a placeholder recommendation number from the policy guidance that we get from the Illinois Association of School Boards.
I just wondered if it was based on something.
The 35 is just statute.
Okay.
Usually those, we can adjust those. I appreciate the administration coming forth if we are stopping the good work that needs to be done and adjustments need to be made. I appreciate it being brought forth.
Probably been 12 for a minute and costs have gone
Yeah.
up, so.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so any further questions on the facility policy adjustments?
Yeah, if there's no questions, I probably would bring it back again with
Yes.
a recommendation to
To approve
increase it.
those
Yep.
new numbers.
Yep.
Great. All right, moving on to another policy review of athletic code of conduct, of which Dr. Weisman has some comments to start our conversation.
Yeah, so recently, I think some community members, hockey parents, helped us realize that we had a discrepancy between what's in our handbook, stated handbook around what activities and athletic programs we offer and what's in board policy. So we, at some point, it could have been this last year or 2 years ago, I don't remember or know, we removed hockey from the student handbook, but it's still in board policy. I do want to talk about hockey. It has had a pretty formal connection to the high school in the past. That's probably the most pertinent part of the policy. And we have some visitors here that I think are mostly hockey parents that are curious about any perspectives here because it has an impact on that team. I mean, bigger picture, I think there's an argument to go back to a simpler policy that's recommended because we do put most of the details that is in our current policy also exists in the student handbook. Regardless, you approved it all. So just a conversation around hockey. Hockey has, in the past, there's been a pretty formal relationship. We've treated it for the most part like one of our teams. The hockey organization is a separate entity.
club.
It's a club, yeah. So it's kind of served in this in-between area, kind of like a booster or a foundation. It's a
Lacrosse started as a club.
Lacrosse. It's a student, it's a club that supports students, but it's not staffed by our people.
Well, it's not, is it IHSA?
Hockey is not
No,
an
that's what I
IHSA recognized
Yeah,
sport.
it's not
It's a club
recognized.
sport. There are a lot of high schools that try to support their community's hockey team. We have, in the past, given them money to help out with ice time. We've included them in our yearbook, our awards and recognitions programs, our activities and athletics staff communicate grades, attendance concerns, behavior concerns, just like they would with a typical coach. We, just in the last couple years, as I've looked at the hockey team and the relationship that we have with the hockey team, I am concerned about the discrepancy between the hockey team and other activities and clubs. We just had an example tonight of a parent whose daughter is competing at a very high level athletic programming, and as much as I would love the community to wrap around her, we don't formally recognize that work. We don't provide any financial compensation or support. We don't work directly with the coaches in the same way that we have with the hockey team. I think the hockey team is great and does great things for the community. I think there's just some discrepancies between how we've treated the hockey team and how we treat other clubs or individuals involved in external athletics. So that's my kickoff for the conversation. It's definitely something we can continue to have conversation about. If you want to talk about it tonight, we can. If you want to wait, that's okay too.
I don't know what you're asking for. Are you asking for anything?
I'm asking that we stop supporting hockey the way that we've supported in the past, that we don't pay for the ice time, that we don't include them in the yearbook, that we don't include them in our awards programming, up until the point where they could become an IHSA sport, a team for us. If that were to happen, they would be staffed by our staff. But right now, I would ask that we treat it as an external organization. What that requires is you'd have to just pull the hockey team out of your board policy.
I'm not in favor of that, I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, I'm not in favor
I
of
mean,
pulling
I don't
that.
think that doing it all of a sudden is fair. without, you know, having more discussion and more conversation about it. It seems a little abrupt to me. Maybe it's been going on, I missed it, I don't know. But, I mean, these people that support hockey have been supporting the school too, and I mean, they do a lot of good for some of our students, so before we do that, I'd like to, just pump the brakes and take a little more time to understand it and see maybe IHSA is moving in that direction at some point. Maybe that's closer than we think. I think we just need to do, in my opinion, we need to do some more review
Sure.
before we make any final decisions.
Could you give us examples of other clubs, for lack of a better term, that we don't support, that would be comparable to the hockey team?
Yeah, so like a gymnastics club, we have students that are in equestrian clubs, swimming clubs. Sometimes the students are involved with a club that we might offer that sport, but in the off season of the sport, there are clubs that the students are involved in.
So hockey's the only club that we support or have supported?
He is currently the only external club that we've supported.
We did support lacrosse in the same way.
But lacrosse is not part of IHSA.
Yeah, then they became an IHSA sport, and we absorbed them into the program. So we did have two that we were doing that way for many years, so
How long have we supported the hockey team?
25 years, 26 now.
So I have some thoughts. One of my very dear, almost like a daughter, I've watched her grow up, spent her entire 4 years in the hockey, Warren hockey, and did amazingly well. Blackhawks Player of the Month for students. She loved the hockey program. It was wonderful. I also have what I would consider adopted daughter who went to the Olympics in Tokyo for judo, who was not supported, and I saw her scrape and fundraise, and I'm sure you can relate to this with the funding. It's not free, and Olympics do not support their Olympians unless they're, Ms. Biles or someone. So I get concerned because I have seen almost professional athletes come through the school while they're in school, but not have the same support that we're providing an entity here. And what's to say that why wouldn't we support an Olympian or a future Olympian or you go down a slippery slope of trying to decide, whose club is, worthy, valuable, proximity. We've done it for 25 years. It concerns me because there's a lot of worthy. You mentioned equestrian club. I mean, I rode, very competitively, and I would love to see equestrians supported, and that's an expensive sport. We have a lot of students that do equestrian work. So I'm concerned about the appearance of supporting one team. Yes, we've done it for a long time, and I've known people that have benefited from being in the club, but I've also seen people that have struggled individually to perform at some of the highest levels in the world, and yet Warren isn't supporting that judo club or that type of activity. So it makes me uneasy to, if we see a discrepancy, yes, maybe we need to phase it out, to John's maybe point or comment, but I don't know that we want to continue if we aren't doing it for everyone else. There's a level of equity for other students that I think we should be considerate of as well. So, and those other students are bringing notoriety to Warren Township. I mean, you compete we had two Olympians in the last Olympics. So one was a Paralympic, I believe, and one was in judo. So I think, I think we really need to look at the equity in the situation, so.
I think that you have a lot of really valid points to that, but my concern would still be that hockey historically in, multiple districts, especially the North Shore, hockey, even though it's a club, it's always been somehow part of the school district and supported by the school district. I think that we should take some time to do some research and kind of see where this can go, but I don't think that it really has much to do with inequity, because hockey is a sport that's highly recognized at all levels as a team sport versus like judo, or, you know, if you're doing horseback riding, it's not in my, you know, maybe I'm wrong.
Careful.
Well, it's not
There's
team.
a lot of
It's-
people that
right,
would
it's more-
disagree with you.
Right, but it's more like individual. But to the point of,
The equestrian team goes to the Olympics as a team, just so
Yeah.
you know.
I think that we need to,
We'll take our time.
yeah, take
You're
our
okay
time
with
on it.
that? Yep. We'll take our time.
Other discussion?
Yeah, I think it's important that we respect the history we have with this program, but I think we also need to figure out what our policy is, and our policy needs to be not specific to individual sports, but I think the policy needs to define in some way what are the boundaries of what the school supports with staff time and money, and what do we not support staff time and money, so that we can discriminate between where we're putting our energy.
Maybe there are other ways to help that we could.
There is no monetary support for hockey, just so you guys know, we don't get any money.
May-
We're not even asking for money.
Let's try to keep the conversation at
Here.
board level here.
Maybe there are some other.
Don't worry, we'll find all that out. You'll get your chance.
We'll appreciate it.
Today's not the day,
Yeah.
but you'll get your chance.
When it's in the
We're putting
middle.
this off, so you'll be all
Yeah,
right.
during I hope you guys understand, regardless, understood. But at a governing board meeting, discussion has to stay here in fairness. Otherwise, we would have constant exchanges depending on the topic. So I appreciate the passion, appreciate the information. We're going to collect all that, but let's continue the conversation here.
Maybe there are some other ways that we could support any club that was willing to do X, we do Y, help them with fundraising, something. If there's some other way that we could support not only hockey, but any of these clubs that were willing to come to us and say, we'll do this if you'll do that. I'm just thinking out loud. If
I mean,
there's,
that may be a boosters
if
discussion.
there's, yes, something
but-
other, some other way to do it.
But money, but even taking the money aspect of it, we can still support them by having them be part of award nights and different things that, and I'm talking not just hockey, but like you said, you know,
We should
horseback riding.
expand
and
that.
Expand that
Yeah,
to other.
sure.
Yeah, include them in our,
I think we need to definitely include the horseback riders.
Now I'm in.
Yeah.
Equestrians.
putting aside money, I think that we can broaden and make it more inclusive to other sports and how we include them within our school district and how we recognize them.
So I like a lot of what I'm hearing. First off, thank you for bringing this to our attention. I'm not sure, just as awareness purposes, that we would have known any of this. Although this wasn't the doing of the current board, there obviously was a board at some point that approved this 26 years ago. And it is our it is our responsibility to clarify in our policy and make sure we treat all of our groups the same, and that doesn't have to be at the expense of one. It could be broadening for all. One, and two, the longevity of what I'm hearing, the 25, 26 years, definitely there would need to be a long runway if we were to ever, one person's opinion, ever to make a change. There would need to be a lot of grace here, because it was to no fault of their own. This has been a past practice for many years and not something we would need to adjust quickly on if we were even needed to adjust. So I liked a little bit about what everyone was saying. Steve expanding and Beth, your point to there probably are people just as passionate in some of these other sports. To Susan's, looking at policy and applying policy evenly, I believe is what the point you were making there toward the end. And then just over here, Natalia and John, just the commitment that we have made to this team and not wanting to pull that support right away. So I think the point today was to discuss, not make decisions, but just enough. And what I'm hearing from those of us that are here is that we need to just do some more digging on all these questions that were raised. maybe some creative solutions so that it's not at the expense of one, but maybe broadening support for all. I really liked hearing, they do a lot for our kids. Maybe there's some way we can contribute to, all these clubs that do so much for our kids when we can't provide. Like, it's nice to see others fill the gap when we can't provide. It's our kids. It's our kids benefiting. But maybe it just doesn't need to be in certain ways. Maybe there are other ways that we can support. But all that is down the road. Is that enough direction,
Yep,
Dr. Weisman, for today?
I'll go do some more research. I can work with the athletic director to understand more specifically what types of support is being involved. I think that's probably a good starting place, if that's okay.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And just to be clear, we're the board that's here is always appreciative of anybody that supports our students. So thank you to those organizations that do. All right, moving on to the next item, which is the Illinois Association of School Board Delegate Assembly. Looks like our administration does not have any comments. Before our discussion, we've sent historically a delegate to attend that hour-and-a-half, 2-hour session with some question as to how much effectiveness it brings. We might feel differently if we had an item that was a kind of an important one that we wanted people to support and maybe advocate for, but we're not at that point, I think. I'm just thinking of like Woodland and charter schools, for instance, where they would need some advocacy. Is there any discussion here on this process? I think we all kind of feel like.
Do you want to send somebody? You have to. If you want to send someone, you got to
need to-
decide that. If you don't, that's okay too.
Because you got to watch a couple webinars and you got to provide we have to designate
There's
you.
one
One item this year.
one item this year. I don't think that it's.
The bus item,
Yeah.
bus training, yeah. So are we sending somebody, one of us?
Not me, I'm not gonna be there, so. If
Okay.
I was gonna be there, I'd go, but I'm not gonna be there, so.
Okay. I don't think anybody here wants to attend. And I'll be honest, I'd rather go and listen to many of the other speakers and learn than sit in that meeting for 2 hours. So I wish they had it at a different time. Okay, so it sounds like it's been discussed, and barring Tasia does not want to attend, we probably won't be sending somebody, but we will keep close tabs on it and appreciate the work that's being done in that session. Moving on, we have an example contract for shared administrator between District 121 and another school district. So Dr. Weisman has some comments.
Yeah, so the superintendent from 56 and I worked on this over a handful of months with an attorney, just to actually probably prepare for the possibility if ever in the future there's an interest in sharing an administrator. We're not in a situation today where we're looking to do that, but we realized at some point in conversations that if we ever did want to do this in the future, it's better to have something ready, looked at by both school boards, discussed, because most likely if we were going to do this with a school district, it would be because one of the both districts have a similar position and one of them opens up. And then we would need to discuss and come to resolution pretty quickly on, is that one we would like to share? So having a template for a contract would expedite that process. I don't need a whole lot of discussion other than, is this something that in the future, if this did come up in 6 months or a year or in 2 years, is this a type of example contract something that you would want me to pursue if that scenario came up?
Most definitely.
Yeah. I mean, we're already jointly
Yep.
in transportation with them, among other items. And we have this shared services committee that is going to meet. And I think this is an example of the type of work that we would like to do with our fellow school districts. So I think, everyone here is
Great.
appreciative of that work.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate 56. It's been a joint effort and
Yeah.
a couple months worth of work, so appreciate their partnership. That's all I have.
All right, so we're going to move on to action items. There's some of these have some discussion ahead of time. So the first one is the adoption of the fiscal year 26 budget, which we had the budget hearing earlier this evening. Chris Green, do you have any further comments on this? No? Okay. It's a little lengthy, so I'll read this if someone can second it after me. I move to approve to adopt the FY26 budget, whereas the Board of Education of Warren Township High School, number 121, County of Lake, State of Illinois, caused to be prepared in tentative form a budget, and the secretary of this board has made the same conveniently available to the public inspection for at least 30 days prior to the final action thereon, and whereas a public hearing was held as to such budget on the 23rd day of September 2025, notice of said hearing was given at least 30 days prior thereto as required by law, and all other legal requirements have been compiled with. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Education of said district as follows. Section 1, that the fiscal year of this school district be and the same hereby is fixed and declared to be beginning July 1, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2026. Section 2, that the following budget containing an estimate of amounts in each fund separately and expenditures from each be and the same is hereby adopted as the budget of this district for said fiscal year.
Second.
Thank you for second. Is there
You read it.
yeah, it's
Heck of a job.
that is tough. So any discussion? And we would have had that discussion during the hearing as well. Roll call vote, please.
Carlson,
Yes.
Fields, oops, sorry, Schneider. Pope,
Yes.
Martinez,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Squires,
Yes.
Demonte.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Great. Next action item is the approval of intergovernmental agreements with Exceptional Learners Collaborative, ELC. Our administration does not have any comments. So if I could have someone make that motion, if not, I can read it. We'll second it and then discuss.
I move to approve the intergovernmental agreements between Exceptional Learners Collaborative, ELC, and Warren Township High School, District 121, for students 2026-01, 2026-02, 2026-03, 2026-04, 2026-05, 2026-06, and 2026-07.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? The only comment I might have here, not really discussion, is I hope our continued work to look at our programming here in district continues. It's great that we have places that meet the needs of our kids, but I am a firm believer that kids always belong in their home school, closest to their community and friends and neighbors. So I'm great that the needs are being met and the partnerships with these organizations, but let's keep up the good work trying to bring some programs back here. Roll call vote, please.
Demonte,
Yes.
Squires,
Yes.
Martinez,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Pope.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next action item is regarding the approval of consulting services proposal with C.E. Crowley and Associates for roof replacements. Chris Green, is there anything that you would like to share before we make a motion?
So I'm a little excited about this because we've been having our ongoing roof projects for 3 years, and we're at the halfway point with our phases. So after next summer, we will have just our almond roofs left, and we'll have 2 roofs, smaller roofs at Old Plain, but C.E. Crowley has said those 2 roofs at Old Plain probably can last another 5 years, so it'll be beyond when we're finished with almond roof. Mr. Chuck Crowley is here if you have questions. The project's cost is $4,300,670 for the Almond campus roof and $930,400 for the Eau Plaine campus roof. So they'll be in conjunction with each other next summer. C.E. Crowley estimates their consulting fee as part of this project is $313,864 for a total cost estimated of $5,231,070.
We'll make a motion second and discuss.
Will we make a motion?
Yeah, just one comment. I'm glad we employ people that are excited about roofs. Yeah,
Well, if you aren't, you might as well find another district.
I know. We've been discussing this for as long as I've been here. Yes, John, if you want to go ahead and make the motion.
I move to approve the consulting services proposal with C.E. Crowley and Associates for the Eau Plaine Campus Phase 4 and Almond Campus Phase 1 roof replacements.
Second.
Okay, now do we have any discussion around this?
I'm excited that the roofing project is moving to Almond.
Only to
I'm
return to Eau
excited too.
Plaine. I'm sure.
Yeah, by the time it's done.
I'm more
Circle
excited
back.
about a roof than I've been in a long time.
Yeah, yeah. All right, we've discussed roofs through the years, so I don't know how much there is, other than the fact that it's just continued work, and if you can't get the roof in order, everything else underneath is in jeopardy, so we appreciate the roofing work. Okay, I believe we are doing a roll call vote.
Squires,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Pope,
Yes.
Martinez,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Demonte.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next action item is approval of the memorandum of understanding with Quest Food Management Services. Chris Green, I think you may have a few comments for us.
So this MOU with Quest is one that we do every year. We have Quest as our food service provider, but they also provide services for District 56. Quest prepares District 56's meals at our Eau Plaine campus, and this MOU is part of that agreement that we have with them.
Does someone want to make a motion?
Move to approve the memorandum of understanding between Quest Food Management Services and Warren Township High School District 121 as presented.
Second, is there any discussion now? It's great that we continue. This is just like transportation, another way in which we support a local school district working together, multiple taxing bodies supporting one another. That's from a community's perspective, excellent. I know internally there might be some frustrations because you don't have full control of your kitchen, and we're aware of that. But the seven of us are here as elected community members who do appreciate taxing bodies working together, and our vendor that supports multiple districts in this case. All right, roll call vote.
Pope,
Yes.
Martinez,
Yes.
Squires,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Demonte.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next action item is approval of invitation to participate in property enhancements at Eau Plaine campus. Dr. Weisman.
I tried to include comments and priorities. Recommend anything on the floor from this, I would go out and then send this formally to some of our partners, including like the Park District, the Village, the Forest Preserve.
How are we doing with the Forest Preserve? You've talked to the Forest Preserve already, or not? How are we doing?
We're doing great.
Are they interested at all? I don't want to,
I mean, they're interested in the conversation.
I think at this point we can't favor one entity over
Well, I'm just-
another, but
As a former Forest Preserve Commissioner, I'm just curious.
oh,
They're interested in the conversation.
Okay.
and it's great that people are. I think some good things will come for this, and hopefully we can get our water management even further under control. All right. I move to approve the invitation to participate in property enhancements at O'Plain campus.
Second.
Okay, discussion, or further discussion, I should say. Nope. Roll call vote.
Anderson,
Yes.
Squires,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Martinez,
Yes.
Pope,
Yes.
Demonte.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Moving on to the approval of proposal for professional services with Gwalt Hamilton Associates, Inc. for O'Plain parking lot improvements. Chris Green, I think, has some lead-in comments.
So this proposal from Gaywalt Hamilton, there are civil engineers, and we have talked about the south parking lot at the O'Plain campus. Most people know that it's a challenge. And so we have asked Gaywalt to start preliminary design, and if the board decides to move forward with the parking lot, they would prepare the specifications to go out for bid to replace that parking lot. So this proposal is just for Gaywalt's preliminary preparations of,
You gonna redesign the flow and all that, or
yes.
try to?
yes.
No guarantee.
I think it's also important to note with the construction that we have there and the current condition of that lot, this work is not just a nicety, it's a necessity. In addition to designing the new flow, if we're doing this anyway.
Remind me, are we including with this the tennis courts south of the construction that are remaining, or are we thinking about including that, or?
Have they gotten back with us yet on whether we can use the parking lots as pavement?
That would be part of this, they would look at,
They're gonna look at all
Yes.
that?
Mhm.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Okay, so I move to approve the proposal for professional services for O'Plain parking lot improvements with, I guess I was saying it wrong, Gewalt, all right, Hamilton Associates, Inc.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote.
Martinez,
Yes.
Pope,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Squires,
Yes.
Demonte.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, some other additional field trips that are just as exciting as the Peru trip. Approval of field trip to ISU, Illinois State University for Theater Fest. I don't believe we have any comments from our administrative staff on this one. So can someone make a motion?
To approve the field trip of, I move to approve the field trip to Illinois State University for Theater Fest.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just say, I appreciate these trips to college campuses for workshops and whatnot, to help give our kids a chance to just be on a college campus and imagine college.
Secondary benefit,
Yeah.
for sure. You almost wonder if like places like Illinois State University know that too. Like it gets kids onto their campus, fall in love with it.
I think it's a marketing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
all
like
of a
the
sudden,
best recruitment ever.
yeah,
Yes.
win-win. But yeah, I agree with you. Like our kids seeing themselves at these places
Yep.
is an extra benefit to that. All right, roll call vote.
Demonte,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Pope,
Yes.
Squires,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Martinez.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, we're moving on to the approval of field trip to Washington DC for the varsity boys lacrosse. May I have a motion?
I move to approve the field trip to Washington DC for varsity boys lacrosse.
Second.
Any discussion on this trip? Basically, see other discussion. We're just as excited about this as well. Roll call vote, please.
Squires,
Yes.
Pope,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Martinez,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Demonte.
Yes.
Motion carries.
As we bring our meeting to a close, a reminder that at a governance level, we too are respectful, resilient, engaged now and always. Go Blue Devils.
Go Blue Devils.
We need a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The time is 8:58 p.m.